Hello, I'm Dr. Tara Campbell, naturopathic doctor, bringing my top tips for immune health with simple and informative action steps that you can implement right away for cold and flu season and beyond. The following tips are what I share with my clients every day and what I get myself and my family on for best and simplest immune support. In today's workshop, I'm going to introduce you to 7 simple tips to boost your immune health without making massive changes in your life so that you can have confidence over fear and you can sail through immune season with the best habits in place. So, if it's okay with you, let's get right to it and start on the workshop. Who is this for? This is for anyone who is concerned about keeping their immune system healthy during the cold and flu season. And I think that should be all of us. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to touch on the number one nutrient you need for a healthy immune system that over 70% of Canadians are deficient in. I'll talk about the antioxidant you need when it comes to immune health and inflammation, which also supports healthy lungs, detoxification, liver function, brain health, and even glowing skin. We'll touch on why being too low in this one nutrient will not only disrupt your immune health, but also delay recovery from a virus, and the biggest driver of what I see impairing immune systems and how to change it. Food wise, we'll talk about why removing this important piece of food from your diet is negatively impacting or negatively affecting your immune health. And hint, it is in the news a lot these days. We'll touch on the thing you're probably already doing, and if you did just a little more, it would improve your immune health significantly. And I'll teach you a simple technique the Navy SEALs use to help keep their immune system optimal, and you can literally do it anywhere. Who am I and why listen to me talk about immune health? As a brief introduction, I'm Dr. Tara Campbell. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I've helped thousands of men, women, teens, and children in my 12 years of naturopathic practice. I'm a published author on IV nutrient therapy and overall wellness, and I'm on a mission to educate about inflammation and oxidative stress for current immune health. I'm also a mom of a toddler. I'm a cold plunger. I'm a creative chef and crafter, and I love all things outdoors and water related. As a naturopathic doctor, I believe having a strong and healthy immune system is one of the most important factors when it comes to your overall wellness. It's hard to improve your health and to move it forward when you're depleted, when you're run down, when you're sick, or you're taking a long time to recover from the latest cold or flu. I would say before you can have more energy, refreshing sleep, glowing skin, weight loss, and better mood, all the things people want when they first come to see me, you really need to focus on having a healthy immune system first. Because immune health is the foundation for living in vibrant health, or what I call higher health. Since we are in the cold and flu season, proactive immune support should be a top priority. And I want to help you do just that with my top tips for a strong and healthy immune system. For this class, I want to share tips that you can do at home. I can almost guarantee there will be a few tips you didn't realize were as important as they are. And the good news is you can easily add these to your life right away without making huge lifestyle changes. A quick disclaimer, the info I'm about to share is for informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, and it is not intended as a recommendation or endorsement of any specific tests, products, procedures, opinions, or any other information. Now that that is out of the way, let's dive in with immune tip number 1. Hint in the picture. Between 70 to 97% of Canadians demonstrate vitamin D insufficiency, which is why I'm going to start with vitamin D. Having optimal vitamin D levels are very important for maintaining a healthy immune system, as well as other key factors in your health, from mood to cardiovascular health to inflammation and more. When our vitamin D levels get too low, you can experience a decreased resistance to viruses. So think cold and flu, meaning it's easier to catch whatever is going around. And with typical viral infections, there are actually 2 phases. We have an inflammatory phase and an anti-inflammatory phase. The inflammatory phase fights and clears the infection. This would be fever as an example, or redness. The blood is rushing to the area to help. And then vitamin D helps the anti inflammatory phase, which is where healing begins. If you are too low in vitamin D, it can become more difficult to move from the inflammatory phase into the anti inflammatory phase. And so you'll stay stuck in the inflammation and your symptoms will persist, which means your colds will linger and it will take you longer to recover. Vitamin D can also help with overall inflammation, which we're going to touch on a few times as it's a huge factor for immune health and overall wellness. Anytime I run blood work, I will strongly recommend including vitamin D, regardless of summer months or even when someone is already taking it as a supplement, because I found too many people to be unexpectedly low. Living in the Northern Hemisphere, we are much less exposed to sun rays that help our bodies naturally produce vitamin D. And even when we are in the summer sun, we are often wearing sunscreen, which protects our skin from burns and accelerated aging, but it also blocks the sun rays we need to convert to actual vitamin D. So, when you can't get your vitamin D from the sun, here's how to make sure you are reaching your optimal levels. The best way is through supplemental form, and it's through absorbing in a fat form. So usually this comes in a drop form or a gel form of supplementation. Vitamin D is a fat soluble nutrient, and that's why you want to have it with the fat. It will absorb better. And why drops and gel forms are best is because they are already emulsified, meaning they are already broken down into tiny little fat molecules, making it much easier to absorb the vitamin D across your digestive tract. Always ensure to take your vitamin D with a healthy fat to further aid in the absorption, such as avocado, olive oil, eggs, nuts, or even your omega 3 fish oil. And if you'd like a longer list, I'd be happy to provide that. As a case study, I want to talk about Helen. Helen is a 60-year-old female who I've worked with for many years, probably 10 years now, as well as her whole family. And the main concern for Helen and for her daughters is frequently catching colds. So anytime they feel on the verge of a cold, I'll always see them, and they want to make sure they have immune support on hand at home. Helen also has high inflammation, contributing to low back pain, joint pain, and weight concerns. And recently, she's been talking about hair loss and low energy. With a new little granddaughter in the mix, who's probably bringing more viral opportunity and exposures, and with being inactive because there's no time, while also looking after her 90-year-old mother, I thought this was a great case study to share because it's common, it's what I commonly see. Helen has difficulty with self-care. It's always been a challenge, learning to put her own health first while also managing all the other responsibilities and caring for her family. So we ran her blood work. I strongly encourage the vitamin D, which came back at 56.2, which is very low. A normal range is between 75 and 250, and I really like to see people closer to 150. We initiated higher daily dose of vitamin D orally in a drop form, as well as a monthly vitamin D injection. So the low vitamin D was certainly contributing to her back pain, joint health, hair loss, energy, weight, and overall body inflammation. She has much less cold and flu frequencies now, despite the same exposures. And simply knowing her vitamin D was low made a significant impact on Helen's health practices. It was almost as if she felt justified in a sense that there was a reason, a physiological reason she was feeling the way she was. She is working on improving her overall fitness level, going at her pace and incorporating small timeframes rather than larger commitments. She ebbs and flows, of course, with commitment to health based on her family, and she's still learning to put her own health first. Tip number 2, oxidants and antioxidants. We're going to talk about the importance of antioxidants to quench oxidants. This is an important subject that I'm going to focus on for immune health. Oxidants are everywhere, from walking down the street and breathing in car exhaust to eating certain foods to using household cleaning products, and even healthy activities like exercise create oxidative stress. But too much oxidative stress can impair your immune health. Viral infection is in itself is oxidative. And so we must give our body key antioxidants specifically for immune health. You want to have them in your system to neutralize oxidants before they can cause cellular damage and lead to further long-term inflammation. So, do we just follow a perfectly healthy diet and get all the antioxidants we need from our fruits and vegetables and healthy foods? Unfortunately, in today's world, that is much easier said than done. So, it's best to supplement. My favorite antioxidant is glutathione. Glutathione is arguably your body's most powerful antioxidant, which helps support healthy lungs, detoxification, liver function, and fighting inflammation. It's found naturally in your body and is actually produced by your liver and nerve cells. And it's made from three amino acids: glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. To help your natural glutathione production, you can up your antioxidant status through glutathione supportive foods. These would be your cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, kale, watercress, and mustard greens, as well as the allium family, so garlic, shallots, and onions. There's also glutathione supplementation, and this is where what I would recommend, in addition to food, of course. They come in many forms, and each one has its own benefit. Whether you take an oral supplement of liposomal glutathione, or a suppository, or a nebulized form, which means you're inhaling the glutathione, or by IV therapy, it's really important to make sure you're getting it from a reputable source at the right dose for you. And I'll bring myself into a case study. I am seeing so many inflammatory responses throughout the pandemic, whether our inflammatory pathways have been primed in a stronger way than ever before. I don't know, but I think so. And so we're certainly seeing a lot more inflammation and more significant inflammation. So I had a recent fever, which is not my typical immune response. And I literally sweated it out over 2 days, making sure to take my glutathione and my anti inflammatory support. So, glutathione halts the viral replication. And even a colleague was sick the other day, and I just made sure she went home with glutathione. And why this is because viruses are entering in through your glutathione pathways. So if you're deficient, then there's easier entry. And when we can up your glutathione, as I said, you stop that viral replication and you halt it from coming in. It's like putting a lock on your door. So up your glutathione and you can prevent the viral replication. And so for me, it was 2 days and I was fine after that. Whereas my daughter, where we can't give her glutathione really, she lasted for a whole week of symptoms and fever and whatnot. So I highly recommend glutathione, the glutathione rich foods, N-acetylcysteine, which is a precursor to glutathione, glutamine as a precursor as well, and glycine. Tip number 3, melatonin is your immune friend. We know melatonin for helping people with sleep and anxiety, but it is also key for immune health because of its powerful antioxidant benefits, particularly when fighting viral infection. It's also very good for lung health and reducing fibrosis or scarring, which have been some negative side effects of significant viral infection. And basically, there are 2 ways you can start to increase your melatonin levels right away. The first is up your melatonin with light exposure first thing in the morning, rain or shine. You see, it's actually your exposure to light in the morning that builds your storage of melatonin to then be released later at night. It's kind of like you're filling your gas tank in the morning so that you can drive your car in the evening. And the second way to up your melatonin is through supplementation. And when choosing a melatonin supplement, I personally prefer a liquid form because it absorbs right under your tongue, making lower doses effective. It's very important to pay attention to dosing because everyone has their sweet spot. Too much, and you'll feel groggy the next day. Not enough, and it just won't work for you. So, if it's in your budget, I would suggest finding out where your melatonin levels are at. There are some advanced tests that look at melatonin levels, and one of my favorites is called the Dutch. It stands for Dried Urine Test for Comprehensive Hormones. And if it's not in your budget, then we need to find out what dose is best for you. Depending on what we find out during our intake process, I will usually start with 1 to 3 milligrams and then build from there. Some people respond best to a low dose, others to 5 milligrams, and others to 10 to 20 milligrams. You can also get an extended release melatonin, which means it slowly releases in your system so that you're getting slower releases throughout so that you can stay asleep. And one last thing on melatonin is I want to circle back to melatonin for sleep and anxiety. Your general immunity can be impaired by anxiety and sleep deprivation. So it makes sense to ensure your melatonin levels are optimal and your sleep-wake cycles are in rhythm. And melatonin really helps with this. As we get older, our bodies also produce less melatonin. So it's something to strongly consider supplementing with as you age, in particular for immune health. A melatonin case study. A client is a hockey player. She's 16 years old. She plays competitively and she's experiencing burnout and a significant viral infection with a history of mono. She showed a post antibiotic rash, full body redness and histamine, like all through, very visible on her abdomen, her arms, and just very hot. I prescribed, as part of a complete plan, melatonin 3 to 5 milligrams before bed. And also, as a side note, she had a history of concussions, and melatonin is well researched for concussions as well. And the reason why I recommended melatonin for her is, besides playing an important role in various functions of the body from sleep to circadian rhythm, melatonin regulates our immune response. It's a free radical scavenger and with antioxidant function. It's a very good antioxidant. And because of these characteristics, it's been found to be very effective in fighting viral infection. Tip number 4. It's not does it. The question is, how much does sugar compromise your immune health? So I love my sweets too, and I wish there was another way to tell you this, but sugar does not help you have a healthy immune system in any way, shape, or form. In my practice, high sugar diets are probably the biggest driver of chronic inflammation, which impacts your immune health negatively. I'm going to share some of why it's bad for you, for your health, and then some tips to help you move away from the cravings. So, how does sugar drive inflammation? It causes high blood sugar, obviously, leading to a pro inflammatory state. And in this pro inflammatory state, it actually feeds gut bacteria, which leads to a leaky gut and decreased nutrient absorption. So, a lot of inflammation in the gut will lead to leaky gut and will impair your absorption of the nutrients. It increases fat production in the liver and creates more inflammatory metabolites. It raises your insulin levels and decreases the production of anti inflammatory ketones. And it drives weight gain and obesity, leading to more inflammation. Remember, sugar calories are empty calories. So when you overeat or overdrink, your body tries to get more in search of missing nutrients, but it never fills that void of the missing nutrients, so you keep wanting more. So the excess sugar gets stored as fat, and you contribute further to the endless inflammatory loop. Something you can do right away to get the sugar monkey off your back is focus on healthy fats and healthy proteins first. Plan your meals to ensure good fat and protein are part of every meal. This can really help to reduce your sugar cravings. And make sure your first bite of food in each meal is the protein or fat option, which will slow the release of blood sugar into your bloodstream. This will help create a more balanced insulin and blood sugar response, keeping you satiated for longer and helping you to minimize excess sugar glucose consumption. Tip number 5, up your protein. This is a good follow up to sugar because not only will more protein help with sugar cravings, it will also help your immune health. Protein plays an important role in powering specific immune cells called T cells, which identify and attack viral invaders in your bloodstream, causing infection. A diet low in protein leaves you open to fatigue, weakness, and a low immune response. But getting your protein from food is actually, sorry, not but getting your protein from food is actually better than taking supplements and powders. But if you cannot get enough through food, then you can look for a high quality bioavailable protein powder from a reputable company. My case study here is a four-year-old girl named Katie who's frequently sick, and she has a low protein diet. She just doesn't like protein, and therefore is having a highly carb-based processed food diet. And she's just constantly sick. The best thing you can do for your child and their immune health and their immune protection is to ensure they get enough protein. And you have to get creative based on your child. But if you're an adult, you have to choose protein. A diet low in protein will make you more tired, more weak, more irritable, and will decrease your immune function. So the parents are working on increasing Katie's proteins and decreasing processed high sugar foods, but it's hard. So it's leading to irritability and addictive traits. So, it's the wean off period. But it is so important to make this effort for overall immune health, for faster recovery times and less susceptibility to exposures. Tip number 6, more water can mean a better immune system or better immune health. So many of us walk around highly caffeinated and underhydrated. Just as your lawn needs water to grow, your car needs gas to run, your immune system needs proper hydration to function optimally. When you're not properly hydrated, eliminating toxins and waste materials becomes difficult and can eventually contribute to wearing down your immune system and to things moving sluggishly through your body. Not only that, not staying hydrated diminishes energy levels over time. So, if you're drinking less than 2 liters of water per day, it's really important to figure out strategies to improve your hydration for overall improved immune health. Maybe you set a timer to remind you to stand, get up, get a drink of water every hour. And it may sound silly, but it's not. And you just have to set these measures in place to make sure it happens. There are some people who just don't like the taste of plain water. And for those people, I would recommend adding some healthy flavors to it. I always have chlorophyll in my water. It gives a minty or eucalyptus based taste and also has some antioxidant properties to it. Whatever you need to add to get more hydration into your body, make sure it does not have any sugar. And my last tip is constant stress can weaken your immune system. We know this. Stress, stress, stress. There is no arguing we live in stressful times. I wish more emphasis on stress management was part of everyone's health practice or education. I'm talking about stress from work, family, traffic, watching the news. This is the type of stress that is constantly spiking your cortisol, depleting your system, and contributing to more inflammation. Chronic stress eventually exhausts your cortisol release, which then drives up the inflammation, which then leads to your weakened immune system. When you are going through stressful times, double down on anti inflammatory support such as antioxidant rich foods, supplementation. We've touched on some key tips throughout. Make sure you are hydrated, avoid sugar, all the things we have covered so far. And when you're feeling stressed or you're about to enter a stressful situation, you want to shift from being in stress mode, which is a sympathetic fight, flight, freeze mode, to a rest mode, which is a parasympathetic rest and digest mode. The following simple exercise can help you put yourself into a parasympathetic mode, calming your cortisol release and lowering the inflammatory processes. Navy SEALs are taught this exercise to help them in stressful situations, and it's called box breathing, which you might have heard of. It's shown to lower your stress and to help you recenter. So it's really simple. You're going to imagine a box or look at a door frame or look at your computer screen or imagining by closing your eyes and seeing a square. And basically the up and down sides, or the left and the right side of your square will be your inhale, exhalation, and the upper ledge, the upper and lower ledges are where you hold your breath. So for step 1, you're going to breathe in through your nose, counting to 4 slowly, tracking one side of the door. Feel the air fill your lungs. Then step 2, hold your breath for 4 seconds as you trace the top of the door or square or computer or screen or your imaginary figure. Step 3, exhale down for 4 seconds, down the side of the door, square, imaginary, tracing that right side. And step 4, inhale through your nose, counting to 4 slowly as you trace back the lower edge. So it's 16 seconds, 4 inhalation, 4 hold, 4 exhalation, 4 hold. You can do this multiple times a day and just about anywhere. I often find myself doing this when I'm sitting in traffic, especially at a red light. And now we are at the end where I will just a quick recap on the 7 tips that hopefully you took away at least one thing that you can start using today to help improve your immune health. There's so much more to having a strong immune system, and each person has their own unique needs. We've talked about inflammation, antioxidants, protein, sugar, melatonin, and vitamin D. Here is how I can help. My team and I have set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak with you personally about how we can boost your immune health and help you feel great again. Whatever your biggest challenges are, we've seen it all and we know how to overcome it. So here's how it works. We get on the phone, and on that session, we work with you to craft a step by step plan to boost your immune health and to help you feel great again. And the cost for this is absolutely free. This is for you if you are committed to making small changes in your daily routines in order to support your immune health and your overall vitality. You also need to be honest in assessing where you're at, and you must be able to visualize how you want to feel in order to reach your health goals. If this is you, then book a session now. We're doing this because the pandemic has taught us even more so how important our health is, immune health and overall health, and we want to inspire you. Plus, we also know you may want help or you may need guidance. This is your discovery session to see what is possible. Doing the call with us will give you a clear plan to boosting your immune health. To book this session, simply go to our website, higherhealthcenter.com, and book your immune intro call. We really can't wait to speak with you, to review what we've touched on here, to look at your blood work, and to make sure you are thriving with great health and that you feel immune resilient. Thanks for listening, and we hope to speak with you.